What if I told you that behind every song, every lyric, and every viral moment, there's a universe Taylor Swift has carefully built? One that's bigger than music, richer than celebrity gossip, and deeper than most fans could imagine. From secret Easter eggs hidden in her albums, to coded messages in her music videos, to a fan base that feels less like listeners and more like devoted detectives, Taylor Swift has created something unlike anything the music industry has ever seen. This isn't just about chart-topping hits. This is about a woman who turned heartbreak into an empire, who built bridges between pop and country, who shattered records not once but again and again, and who somehow kept millions of people emotionally tethered to her journey. Welcome to Inside Taylor Swift's universe. By the end of this video, you'll see how she didn't just write songs. She wrote a story so massive that the world couldn't help but become part of it. The origins of a star. Taylor Swift's universe didn't begin with fame. It began with storytelling. Born in Pennsylvania and raised on a Christmas tree farm, Taylor was fascinated with country music. By the time she was a teenager, she wasn't just singing along to the radio. She was writing her own songs, scribbling down stories that would later become the anthems of a generation. When her family moved to Nashville, she was just 14, but she already had the determination of someone twice her age. She walked into record labels with demo tapes, facing rejection after rejection. But instead of quitting, she kept writing, kept performing, and kept chasing the dream. Her debut album, released in 2006, was a bold introduction. A teenage girl with curly hair, a guitar, and an unapologetically honest voice. Songs like Tim McGraw and Teardrops on My Guitar weren't just catchy, they were confessions. Fans didn't just hear her. They saw themselves in her. Fearless and untouchable. Taylor's second album, Fearless, wasn't just a success. It was a cultural earthquake. With songs like Love Story and You Belong With Me, she bridged the gap between country and pop. Suddenly everyone, from high school kids to their parents, was singing her words. But here's the real magic. Taylor wasn't just writing about love. She was writing about our love stories. Who hasn't felt like the underdog, waiting for the person they like to notice them? Who hasn't dreamed of a fairy tale ending? Fearless became the soundtrack to teenage bedrooms, road trips, and first heartbreaks. It sold millions of copies and made Taylor a household name. More importantly, it proved something crucial. Her lyrics weren't just songs. They were emotional blueprints for growing up. And then came the awards. Grammys, VMAs, and the infamous Kanye West interruption, moments that would turn Taylor into more than just a star. She was now a cultural talking point, someone who sparked debates about fame, fairness, and artistry. The color of transformation. By the time Red dropped in 2012, Taylor was no longer the teenage girl with a guitar. She was a woman stepping into a world of complexity, heartbreak, and reinvention. Red was explosive, messy, passionate. Everything love and life really are. Songs like All Too Well weren't just hits. They became emotional sagas. Fans dissected every lyric, every metaphor, searching for clues about the real relationships behind the songs. The Taylor Swift Easter egg phenomenon truly took flight here. Was she talking about Jake Gyllenhaal? Was this scarf more than just fabric? Fans became detectives, and Taylor became the master storyteller leading them through a labyrinth. Red was also her first step into pop superstardom. Collaborating with Max Martin and Shellback gave us hits like I Knew You Were Trouble, a sign of the sonic evolution to come. 1989 and the Pop Conquest. If Red cracked the door to pop music, 1989 blew it wide open. Released in 2014, this album wasn't just a pivot, it was a declaration. Taylor wasn't dipping her toes into pop. She was diving headfirst, and she was about to dominate. With Shake It Off, she told the world she was unbothered by critics and drama. With Blank Space, she flipped the media's crazy girlfriend narrative on its head, mocking the caricature they had built of her. And with Style, she delivered a slick, timeless anthem. But the genius of 1989 wasn't just the songs. It was the rollout, the visuals, the hidden codes and liner notes, and the way Taylor invited fans into her creative process. She wasn't just making music. She was building mythology. 1989 won Album of the Year at the Grammys and solidified Taylor as a global superstar. But more than that, it showed her ability to transform, to shed skins, and to command entire genres. 1989 and the pop conquest. If Red cracked the door to pop music, 1989 blew it wide open. Released in 2014, this album wasn't just a pivot, it was a declaration. Taylor wasn't dipping her toes into pop. She was diving headfirst, and she was about to dominate. With Shake It Off, she told the world she was unbothered by critics and drama. With Blank Space, she flipped the media's crazy girlfriend narrative on its head, mocking the caricature they had built of her. And with Style, she delivered a slick, timeless anthem. But the genius of 1989 wasn't just the songs. It was the rollout, the visuals, the hidden codes and liner notes, and the way Taylor invited fans into her creative process. She wasn't just making music, she was building mythology. 1989 won Album of the Year at the Grammys and solidified Taylor as a global superstar. But more than that, it showed her ability to transform, to shed skins, and to command entire genres. Reputation and the power of reinvention. By 2017, Taylor's image had been dragged through tabloids, feuds, and internet battles. Many thought her career was in decline. Instead, she responded with Reputation, the boldest reinvention of her universe yet. The snake imagery, the dark aesthetic, the biting lyrics. This was Taylor reborn as a villain, or at least the villain people painted her to be. Songs like Look What You Made Me Do weren't just catchy. They were confrontational. Taylor was done playing nice. But beneath the sharp edges, Reputation also held some of her most tender songs, like Delicate. This duality was the secret weapon. Even as she built walls, she let fans peek through the cracks. The Reputation Stadium Tour became one of the highest-grossing tours of all time, proving that her universe wasn't shrinking. It was thriving. She turned controversy into fuel, transforming public scrutiny into art. Lover and the Return to Light. After the storm of Reputation, Taylor swung the pendulum in the opposite direction with Lover. Pastel colors, heart-shaped sunglasses, glitter, and anthems about love in all its forms filled the album. Songs like Lover and You Need to Calm Down captured her ability to blend romance with social commentary. And while some critics dismissed the album as too soft, Swifties knew the truth. This was Taylor reminding us that vulnerability was its own kind of strength. The Loverfest tour was planned but canceled due to the pandemic, leaving fans hungry for more. Yet, Lover still marked an important shift. It was her first album after leaving Big Machine Records. Taylor was taking control of her masters, her business, and ultimately her universe. Folklore and Evermore, the twin universes. Then came 2020. In the middle of a global pandemic, when the world stood still, Taylor Swift expanded her universe in a way no one expected. She released Folklore and Evermore, two sister albums that were stripped down, introspective, and hauntingly beautiful. Gone were the stadium anthems. In their place, quiet storytelling, indie folk melodies, and fictional characters woven into her lyrics. Songs like Cardigan, August, and Willow felt like pages torn from an old novel. For many, these albums were lifelines during isolation. Taylor didn't just write about her own life. She tapped into universal emotions of loss, longing, and nostalgia. She proved she could master any genre, even one that seemed worlds away from her pop dominance. Critics hailed Folklore as one of her greatest achievements, winning Album of the Year at the Grammys. Evermore followed as its wintry counterpart, deepening the mythology. The Eras Tour and global domination. By 2023, Taylor Swift wasn't just an artist. She was a phenomenon. The Eras Tour became a cultural event, a multi-hour celebration of her entire career, with each era represented in dazzling detail. From cowboy boots to sequined bodysuits, from fairy lights to gothic snakes, Taylor recreated her entire universe on stage. Fans dressed up in outfits inspired by their favorite eras, trading friendship bracelets, turning every concert into a shared ritual. The tour wasn't just massive, it was historic. Records shattered, cities lit up, economies boosted. Politicians even credited her with increasing tourism. Taylor wasn't just performing. She was reshaping culture in real time. The era's tour documentary and concert film extended the universe further, letting fans who couldn't attend still be part of the magic. This was Taylor Swift's universe at full scale. Inclusive, theatrical, and unstoppable. She wasn't just singing songs. She was guiding millions of people through a living museum of her artistry. Easter eggs, theories, and fan culture. One of the most fascinating parts of Taylor Swift's universe is the fans themselves. Swifties aren't just listeners, they're investigators. Taylor has trained her audience to look for clues. Hidden messages in lyric booklets, color schemes in music videos, cryptic Instagram posts. Nothing is accidental. Fans analyze, theorize, and sometimes even overanalyze. And Taylor loves it. This symbiotic relationship makes every release an event. Is there a new album coming? What does this emoji mean? Why did she wear that particular outfit on stage? For Swifties, no detail is too small. The future of Taylor's universe. So, where does Taylor Swift's universe go from here? If history has taught us anything, it's this: expect the unexpected. She's already hinted at re-recording her entire catalog, reclaiming ownership of her masters with the Taylor's Version project. Each re-release isn't just nostalgia, it's empowerment. Fans get to relive their memories while Taylor reclaims her art. Beyond that, who knows? More genres? A film career? Political voice? Taylor's universe is limitless because it's fueled by reinvention. Every era feels like the final chapter, until she surprises us again. But here's the real truth. Taylor Swift's universe isn't just hers anymore. It belongs to the millions of fans who see their lives reflected in her lyrics, who gather at her shows, and who trade theories like currency. It's a shared story, one that started with a teenage girl and a guitar, and grew into a galaxy of music, mystery, and meaning.